I almost died when I was just 1 month old at a daycare. I found out all the details recently, and I'm not sure how to feel about it. It's like finding out you narrowly escaped a nightmare you didn't even know existed. My parents never told me much about what happened. They had to tell me a little when I was old enough to notice the weird scar on my chest, but they always seemed reluctant to share more. I'm not great at telling stories, so please be patient with me as I try to explain this. I have this strange-looking scar on the right side of my chest. It's not huge, but it's noticeable enough that I've always wondered about it. When I was about 6 years old, I finally worked up the courage to ask my parents about it. They only said a bad person tried to hurt me when I was a baby. That was all I got for a while. When I got a bit older and asked again, they said it was a daycare worker who tried to hurt me. They didn't give me much information each time, just small bits and pieces that left me with more questions than answers. I'm 27 years old now. The last time I asked my parents about it was probably 6 or 7 years ago. I remember sitting at the kitchen table, trying to get them to open up about it. The most they told me then was that a daycare worker put a blanket over my face because I wouldn't stop crying. They said a blood vessel in my lung burst, and I had to have surgery. It sounded serious, but I could tell there was more to the story they weren't sharing. Every time I talked to my parents about this, they seemed really uncomfortable. Their faces would get tense, and they'd try to change the subject quickly. I felt like I deserved to know the whole story since it happened to me. It was frustrating to feel like there was this big secret about my own life that I couldn't access. So today, I finally decided to look for the full story myself. I wasn't sure what I'd find, but I needed to know. I found it by searching old newspapers on Ancestry.com. Reading through those articles felt surreal, like I was reading about someone else's life, not my own. On the exact day I turned 1 month old, a daycare worker wrapped my face in a blanket because I was crying too much. It wasn't just an accident or a moment of poor judgment, it was suffocation. Another daycare worker caught her doing it and called the police. Thank God for that person, or I might not be here today. By the time my parents got to me, the newspaper said I was barely moving and very weak with a faint heartbeat. I can't imagine how terrified they must have been. I had bleeding in my lungs and was on a breathing machine for 6 days. The doctors told my parents I had a 50% chance of surviving the surgery. It's chilling to think how close I came to dying before I'd even had a chance to live. But here's the part that really gets me. I found out that for some crazy reason, this same person was allowed to keep working at the daycare. How could that possibly happen? 3 months later, she tried to smother another child. She was finally arrested then. It makes me angry to think she had the chance to hurt another baby after what she did to me. After reading all of this, I finally understand why my parents didn't want to tell me about it. They were traumatized by what happened. I can see now why they got so uncomfortable every time I brought it up. They probably relived those terrifying moments each time I asked about my scar. Now I know the truth, but I'm not sure how to feel about it all. It's a lot to take in, learning how close I came to dying when I was just a tiny baby. Part of me wishes I didn't know, but another part is glad to finally have the full story. I'm alive, and I'm grateful for that, but I can't help wondering how this event might have affected me in ways I don't even realize. I'm not sure what to do with this information now that I have it. Should I talk to my parents about it? Seek counseling? Try to track down the other daycare worker who saved me? I have so many questions and emotions swirling around in my head. I guess for now, I'm just trying to process it all and figure out what it means for me moving forward.